Welcome to episode 18 of Breaking Hertz. Kama kawaida, it's your boy Hafare, aka Mr. Metronome, aka Rodney Malik Casino, aka your girlfriend's boyfriend. Finally, I look good, Mr. Tropical, our tropical flyboy. And today, not Sika kawaida, Sookie isn't here. She is sick, she's unwell, we wish her the quickest recovery, but I do believe we have a more than worthy replacement. Please.
Is this episode 18? Are you sure?
Yes, it's episode 18. Or is it 19? I'm not sure. Like, Rajuat. 19. Oh my god. Okay, sawa. Episode 19. Let's scrap the. And you know the funny thing is, even us Byron, before we do every episode, we always ask Sookie, what episode are we on right now?
Okay.
Because I always forget.
Yeah, this is episode 19.
My god, you know my show better than me.
Thank you for having me. My name is Patricia Kihoro, aka Wankeshi, aka Wang, aka Panyops, aka Panye, aka Panyopsis, aka Shrek,
aka Petronila Nanjala,
aka Petronila Nanjala, aka Miss Kihoro. And good evening, viewers. I'm happy to be here.
The wonderful, the amazing, the multi-talented,
AKA,
the iconic.
AKA Britannia Zimeisha.
Exactly. The legendary.
Oh, wow.
As in, you're an icon in the game, and I'm so happy that you're here.
Thank you.
I think you're the first person I ever interviewed that has their own Wikipedia page.
MBQ didn't have?
Does she? Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe.
I'm pretty sure she
okay, second
does.
person, sawa. And it's all women, sawa.
Wait.
Down with the patriarchy.
Check it down. Wait. Check it down.
I'm loving the energy so far.
You guy.
Yeah. So, let me get it quickly into the first segment. What have I been listening to in the last week? Last week, I was feeling a bit toxic.
Okay.
So, I had to put on some toxic music. Working on My Karma by Division. It's like, there's a song called If I Get Caught. If I get caught cheating, that means I don't love, like, it doesn't mean I don't love you. Like, ulinishika true, I'm sorry. Amakosa ilifanyika.
Yes.
So yeah.
Okay.
Toxic R&B. Sookie was talking about it last year. I didn't get a chance to listen to it then, and then a Division song came on my playlist, and I was like, you know what, let me just dive into it. And peak toxicity. This is the perfect time for all of you guys who mlikuwa mna try to salvage your relationship in Feb or over Valentine's, trying to, like, the last kicks of a dying horse, mmeachana. Go forth into the world and be toxic. Listen to Division, listen to Future, ruin somebody's life. Be the reason somebody says Nairobi. Where? So it's perfect breakup R&B. It's like post-breakup R&B. And just go out there and be the worst version of yourself that you can be.
Right.
But it sounds really good.
Okay.
That was that. And then there's From Uganda with Love by Maui Moon. That was, Sookie mentioned it last week, so I listened to it this week.
Yeah.
If you like Alte vibes.
Yeah.
If you like Odunsi and Santino, Cruel Santino, you love it. Has Mau From Nowhere. I feel like from the last project, Maui Moon, I don't think there's been a significant evolution artistically.
Okay.
But sometimes you don't mess with the working formula. Sometimes, unaacha tu, if it works, it works.
And also, I think there's this assumption that anybody who's an artist also is working using a formula of what artistry should be. When sometimes an artist is just expressing themselves and expressing where they're at. They're using their art form to process whatever it is that they're going through. So if you're a consumer of whatever art that it is, it doesn't necessarily mean that there has to be evolution every time. And on the flip side, if there is evolution, just allow the artist to be. So,
No, I'm not mad at it.
Yeah.
I'm not here like saying, how could improve? I'm like, like if I listen to the last thing I heard from you and then it's the next thing, it's the same, but I'll pick it up. But at the same time, it's not a bad thing.
It's not.
It's not. It's a really fun, it's a really fun listen.
Yeah.
It's one of those things you play at night, like when you've popped an edible and then like you're seeing God. That's the type of music you need to play then. It'll just calm you down.
I don't fuck with edibles.
Ulifanyiwa nini?
I think it's because my metabolism is so unpredictable, and so edibles, I can never. Today it will be 2 hours, and then the other day it's an hour. The next it's like overnight. Alafu the next morning ndio nimeamkiwa na mavitu. So I just don't.
okay, as a food scientist, which is a weird thing for me to say.
Yes.
As a food scientist, I think it's because a lot of the times there's no like standard measurement on how edibles work, on extraction of the THCA and everything. So sometimes the batch could be really strong, sometimes the batch could be really bad.
That's true.
So whatever you're getting is just random. Like Mungu ndo atakwambia leo itakushika. And your kids don't do drugs.
Yeah, drugs will hurt you.
Leave them all for me.
Harm, desert you, leave you crying, empty. Do you know that song?
No, I don't.
Oh, wacha nikuulize Hafare, uko na miaka mingapi?
Me, I'm dirty 30.
30, like
Dirty 30.
Okay, it's just to give context, because sometimes, you know, like I'll say something or break into song for something or say something,
No, as long as
and
you're
people
having
look
fun.
at me like, what's that? And I'm like, what do you mean?
Do you know I tweeted about Unasi the other day, and then somebody was like, "This is how I know you're a certain age," because Gen Z don't know who Unasi are.
Yeah.
Because me, I need to add a white boy to my friend
Oh
group,
my god.
so that we can always just go around lying to women saying that we're Unasi. And we're like, we're members of Unasi. No one knows what they look like. It could be us.
No, there's a guitarist that I used to play my gigs with for there was a chunk of time when I used to play gigs, and I used to play just with this guitarist. His name was Toby, and he used to be in Unasi.
Shout out to you, Toby. Get me a white boy. I need to let me leech off your name.
And he was super, super dope.
Nice. So from that, Mass Country by AKA, I really like the album. I really, really do. And you can tell how much love and effort went into the project. First of all, AKA has always had a very good ear, or his producers, the people he works with, on sampling, on production. The album, it was very well curated, well arranged. The quality of music is great. The mastering is fine, and he talks about a lot of the things he's been going through, like just being a superstar in the limelight, like his last relationship with Elisha, like being a father. The features are great. EMT, Kulichana, Nasty C. Who else is on there? Musa Keys.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's a very good album.
Mi wacha nikwambie tu kweli, AKA, I've never like really, okay, mimi na maraps. Huwa na struggle.
That is my bread and butter. That is my bread and butter.
But I remember that like the one jam that I really like enjoyed was the one where he sampled the Buena Vista Social Club. Do, do, do. You know that kasample.
Yes,
Hata
yes.
sasa siwezi kuimba kwa sababu nika melody kingine hapo kazuri. It's like so do, do. It's anyway.
Yeah, even on this one, the world is yours. Yes.
Do you know it? Unaijua. You're defeating. Yeah.
So even on this album, the lead single Lemons, he samples Music Sounds Better With You by Stardust.
Oh wow.
And the sample is a bit like looped down kidogo, not at the same tempo, but it sounds so good. Everything on that album is I feel like on a scale it was perfectly curated. It was supposed to be this big coming out thing, his big return to music, and then unfortunately, you all know what happened. Rest in peace to him. And I feel like it's poetic that now that he's passed, his last true album that he made while he was alive is such a good, cohesive project. It's the last thing people will actually remember for him for. Because I know the labels are labels. They're going to put out like, a posthumous album of cuts that he never wanted to put out.
Yeah.
But this is a very nice album. And if you have time, if you're listening, please just go check it out. And you know, I feel like there are people who will be like, AKA did this and that. Sometimes, I know you can't separate the art from the artist. Sometimes maybe you can just ignore it for a little bit.
Yeah.
A little kidogo too. Just go listen to the album.
Yeah,
It's
that's
amazing.
such a tough thing, right? It's like separating the art from the artist. It's such a tough one. But in some cases it's not tough, in others it is.
Because you're not listening to R. Kelly. Not on purpose.
And you think back, like there was times, you know, for me usually, like I'll think about a time in my life when I was really, the way I listen to music a lot of times it's just a hyper focus. I can listen to one album for 4 months straight and not listen to anything else, and then one day it's like, okay, I'm ready
done.
to move on.
I'm done with this.
Like I can listen to an album until it becomes one long song. So even if I'm at the club and the DJ plays this song, I'm waiting for the next one to play. You know what I mean? And so
unajua track list in your head by default.
It's not a track list, it's just a one long track. So it really ties into, things I've gone through in my life. At this time in my life, this is what I was listening to. Or you can say a lyric from a song and I can literally tell you what was going on in my life, where I was, what I was dealing with, who I was friends with, who I was dating. So it's for me, it's usually also quite difficult. It's not hard for me to say I'm not going to listen to that artist if, that's a decision. But then for me, it's untangling a lot of things. Yeah.
That's very interesting. Because for me, like I can detach myself really easily. Because Freddie Gibbs is my favorite rapper. I've said that on this show many times. But when he was hit with the rape allegations when he was in Europe, I stopped. Because I'm not putting money in a rapist's pocket.
Right.
But when now the whole thing was cleared up and it turned out that even he wasn't there, and it was all false allegations. Like, okay, so now my conscience is clear. I can go back to listen to him. But I understand you. The whole point of knowing that Ukisikia Ngoma, it takes you back to a specific place during a specific time.
Yeah.
Me, if I listen to My Type of Party by Dom Kennedy Saizi, it takes me back to 2012 in my friend's 2-bedroom apartment.
Yeah.
Drinking the cheapest vodka we could find, and then trying to figure out okay, we have 600 bob and we're going out on a Friday.
Yeah.
How are we going to make it work? So I get you.
Yeah. Yeah.
So anyway, listen to Mass Country. Finally, Glaucoma 2 by Key Glock, who you have said you have no idea ni nani. Not a single, but you've said him to my raps.
I feel like there's 1 or 2, 3 songs that I'll listen to and I'll just I'll rap for you. Yani nitakwambia hii najua. But they're so few and far between. So I don't know.
You should listen to Key Glock. He's very I feel like he's a very positive rapper, but he's positive in the sense he's positive for criminals.
What does that mean?
What does that mean? He's positive for criminals. He makes get your money music. Don't worry about anything else in this life. Just go and get your money. That's all he talks about. Ijalishi, fuck your mother, fuck your girlfriend, fuck your father, fuck your boss. Just go and get your money. That's what Kid Glock does. And he is from Memphis. He's the cousin and mentee. Is it a mentee? When you're not the mentor, you're the mentee. Of the late Young Dolph. And his music is here's a bit of hip-hop history. The Memphis style is very soul-heavy. The samples are very... They were the first guys who used to let the sample ride the whole song. Instead of chopping it up, they just let the sample loop constantly the entire time. So that was the style of 3 6 Mafia, which then evolved into what Kina Black Youngster, Yo Gotti, Young Dolph, up to Nani Saizi, Key Glock. So his beat selection is very nice. It's very rich, soulful stuff. Very entertaining. But at the same time, he says the most menacing things. But at the end of the day, it's all about getting your money. And on a Monday morning, when you're waking up and you don't want to go to work, you don't want to go chase this bread, this is the music you need to listen to. Wake up and go get paid, young nigga. Wake up and go get paid. Some people will tell you, relax, fuck all that. Wake up and go get paid.
Wow.
And I really have enjoyed his music for a while, since 2016. He's one of those people who, people know them, but they're not mainstream.
Right.
His music has been big on TikTok.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
TikTok is
it's a great mark.
Yeah.
It's a great tool.
Yeah.
So his song has been on one of his songs is called Ambition for Cash. It was viral on TikTok. And he's had a very big following for a while. And I just like him as an artist. It's one of those things that napenda tu. I will listen to Key Glock anywhere, anytime. In fact, not liking Key Glock is a red flag for me.
Okay. Okay.
It's a first date question. What are your thoughts on Key Glock?
I think the Glock is, I don't personally, I don't think I would ever own a gun, but
yeah, shout out to Key Glock. He makes he's like the opposite. Him and Larry June are two sides of the same coin. They're all about being successful, but Larry June makes music about looking good, feeling fresh, waking up, taking a long bath, going to get pressed juice, riding a bike. But it's both of them just rap about getting paid, but on completely different ends of the spectrum.
Like little pleasures
of life. So that was me. What have you been listening to?
That is a very tough question because it's either my listening habits are I'm either hyper focusing on one song and listening to it on repeat, or hyper-focusing on an album and listening to it on repeat, or sitting in a moment and thinking, I want to listen to this song now. And then I go find it, I listen, nitosheke, and then I move on. Or I create a playlist for, just a playlist I listen to when I wake up in the morning. I'll name it shower playlist or washing dishes. But I've also been
watering my plants.
All my plants are dead. Oh.
You need that playlist though.
You guy. But what have I been listening to lately? Let's see. I feel like a constant that has been there for the last few months is Michelle Gatoiko. Sundays. Wanja Wohoro, always.
That was so good.
That was amazing. But for me, I'm particularly obsessed with her song You. You is I even told her this. You is, every time I listen to You, it's like, anyway, God, you are there. You are there. In whatever form. But You, I feel like, once I fell asleep, I'd created a playlist. Pandemic times, I had my playlist for going to sleep. And I think I remember there's a day I woke up in the middle of the night and it felt like I was levitating, and it was You that was playing.
Ooh.
Yeah, so You is like a very transcendental song for me.
It's like the SpongeBob meme.
You guy, and if you listen to her play it live, I don't know what happens to me. It's just like it's a portal to God.
Oh, that is high praise.
I love Wandra so much.
That is high praise. Muskia.
I love Wandra so much. There's another song by Amanda Black called nitaisema vizuri. Ndi handleli. I don't know if I said it right. Ndi She's from SA.
We'll put the title up, Chini, please.
I love that song. It feels spiritual, but when you listen to the lyrics, I think she's singing to a guy. I don't know, but I love that song as well. And that's a constant. There's this guy called Genesis Owusu.
Oh, Genesis Owusu is really dope.
He is. And there's a particular song called Centerfolds that also is like, I love it. Who else? At least you had referred.
No, me, I always have to refer. I keep a list.
I get you because sometimes it's like
I figure out another blank. I'm like, who was I listening to when I was on the way here?
Yes.
You're trying to figure it out and you're like, you can't.
There's this artist called Boyd from Ghana.
You're giving me really dope recommendations.
He's really dope. There's an artist called Kait from Australia. There's a song of hers that a friend introduced me to like 3 years ago, and it's called OG Love Kush.
OG Love Kush.
Yeah.
That sounds like a drug.
Really, it is.
Ooh.
It is. And it's basically, she's just saying, like, we've broken up. I know I was your OG Love Kush plug, but like, wachana na mimi sasa.
Usinipigie simu tena.
Like, leave me alone. Yeah. I love Cleo Soul. Cleo Soul is, it was a mild obsession at some point.
Sookie was here, she'd be fangirling at her because Sookie loves Cleo Soul.
Cleo Soul is dope. She's dope. There's this band called Oh Wonder.
I know Oh Wonder.
Yeah, their song Hallelujah is really dope. And there's 2 versions of the song, the acoustic one and the original one. I love that. You know what? Let me stop there. But yeah, because I could just keep going. Always listening to Lisa Noah. Always Coca-Cola. Always. Lisa Noah Odur is a constant.
I keep going back to her album. I keep going back. And it's like, hata usikize mara ngapi. At no point have I ever sat down and be like, oh, I'm going to be tired. And I'm looking forward to seeing her perform live at Blankets.
Hey, Lisa.
Lisa
alibarikiwa lakini alipewa like excess. Kusema ukweli. Like alipewa bonus.
Yendo alipewa top player.
Alipewa bonus za kila mtu. But then she deserves. She deserves.
She's extremely talented.
She deserves. I mean, I could go on. And usually, like, questions like this, they give me so much pressure because I'm like, I want to talk about everybody. Do you know Langa Mavuso?
Yes, I do. I haven't gotten into their music so much.
Yeah, he's also something special. He has a song called Sunday Blues that I'm obsessed with, but his projects are also pretty cool. So yeah, kuna watu nawapenda sana. Oh my God, Lindsay Abude just released a project called Kaleidoscope. She's from Nigeria. She's also like...
You really are putting me on. You are putting me on. Because again, I also feel like I've been listening to too much hip-hop recently. Too much testosterone.
No, it's okay.
Ndio maana nataka kupigana na watu wa nduthi kwa stage.
Kwa nini? Ndio inakupatia tu manini.
Yeah, unasikia tu like you wake up in the morning and you're listening to Key Glock. Like I want to get paid but still. And then after that inakuletea Kodak Black.
Do you know this guy called
Montana and you're like
Elmien? I don't know if I'm saying his name right. Elmien.
No.
He's also pretty dope. He's got a beautiful voice. Like, he's one of those people who, like, a video of him singing went viral and, like, that's how it...
You should just start a newsletter and just send people just like, this is what I'm listening to this week. Literally, a blank page, you just...
You know, I tried. I wanted to... So, like, late last year, I was like, let me just start making Sunday playlists, like, kind of like Afro Central, like what Afro Central used to be every Sunday. So I was like, I'm going to start making Sunday playlists. And the first one...
No, I
it's
get
like
that.
There's somebody who's been trying to sabotage. Well, they did because, and I had to do a lot of research around it because I put out the playlist and then it just kept being pulled down. The artwork would disappear, the name would disappear. And I found out that there are like bad players who can try and sabotage your playlist so that there's like,
really?
Yeah, so if you're like doing the same thing that they're doing, but they want to gain notoriety for that, if like your direct competition, they'll...
Yeesh.
And then because, you know, the platform is not going to investigate, but it's literally, if I see you put up a dope playlist, I'll go and report it, and I can say it's for anything. It'll be... It's going to be...
Oh, they're gonna strike you first before they even figure out what happened.
Yes, and I started doing a lot of research around it, and I found that it's a thing that's been happening for years. And that was like, I was just like, damn. Iliniangusha, I felt bad. I was like, no, who's trying to do this, you know? And I spoke to the folks at Spotify, and they said that they're gonna, you know, try and figure that out, because I've worked with Spotify. That's where I primarily listen to my music. So
we're waiting for the Patricia Kihoro playlist. The slay list.
Nilifanya slay list kitambo.
A weekly thing.
Yeah.
But just set up a newsletter, literally Substack, and it's a single white sheet. We just list ya mangoma. You don't even add a spreadsheet. Pati watu spreadsheet ata. Like less is more, and it's less stress. You don't have to deal with Spotify. Hey, is no mangoma? And then mzitafute. I can't give you everything.
But it's fun also to curate that stuff. I really enjoyed putting together Afro Central, so it's something that I find a lot of fun. I'm also currently obsessed, back to my obsession with Take 6, which is an a cappella group, and yeah.
Now I have a question.
Oh, na podcast nasikiza Matire Gemi.
Na?
Matire Gemi is a podcast that Jules...
The Kikuyu one.
Yes, Jules put me on. I listened to Bobo's Void. Bobo is this really smart chick. She's from SA. She's currently in SA. And she does it with her boyfriend. And I listen to The Friend Zone as well every week.
Nice.
Yeah.
Like, what is in Patricia's phone? Ndo easy. Umesikia? Like, this is what her Spotify is like. Tumewapatia. Like, still her aesthetic. Like, you already see her outfit. Now you know what's on her phone.
You guy.
So, a question. I watched your talk on Dadasphere quite a bit.
Yeah.
And it was very candid. I appreciated that.
Okay.
Like, again, at a size, you clearly show a lot of passion for music. Like, this isn't something that you've always wanted to be a musician. Like, when you were on the Dadasphere thing, you said that you could sing like before you could talk, I believe. But you don't sing anymore, unfortunately. Like, you transitioned to making content online, to acting, to being all these, like, being this style icon, being a cultural phenomenon. Like, was the transition away from music towards all these other new creative endeavors, was it a gradual process for you? Or was it like something you just woke up one day and you're like, kitu ya muziki by the way imenichosha? Or did you feel it coming pole pole? Did you start like, I'm going to start doing music and then maybe just a bit?
I feel it coming.
Exactly.
I feel it coming.
So how was it for you?
It's so interesting to kind of hear how people outside perceive things. I wouldn't say it was okay, music, I'm done, so let me transition into this. In fact, there's a group of people who knew me as an actress before they knew me for my singing. And it was never like, okay, this isn't working, let me do this. What I would say is, with my singing, there was a conversation that kind of just started the process of chipping away at my confidence when it comes to singing. But the decision at the time was, okay, fine, singing is still a thing I love to do. And I say it till today. I sing every day of my life. I've never stopped singing. It's just that, people, there's people who are kind of like, if you're not on radio, if you're not doing it publicly, then you're not doing it. So I'm not in the music business at the moment, but singing is something that's still a passion of mine. But at the time, because it just felt like, maybe what I thought I was gonna be in the world of music might not be a reality just yet, but I'm still somebody who loves music, and I'm an enjoyer of music. So let me just be a big fan. And being a big fan meant like going for the shows, because I still loved going for shows. Like live gigs are my thing, and talking about music that I love. And so, in the initial days of Facebook, Just a Band, I put it like they're having a show. Guys, Just a Band are having a show. You see a poster for like the album art, just resharing stuff, showing up for people's gigs. I remember when Pena, it was it was like a new thing, and they had signed Just a Band, Sauti Sol, Della, Stan. Who else? At the time, those were like...
This is Kitambo. Like, I'm trying to think when Sauti Sol... Is this like 2007?
Hey, ni kitambo.
Yeah,
so like there'd be gigs here and there, and I'm just like, guys, let's go for this. So like it was just me being myself and wanting people to experience these dope artists that I also loved, right? And it was never like a strategic positioning or... let me make this my brand. It was just me genuinely being that person who is a lover of also like all like dope Kenyan stuff. So even this fashion icon Manenos, it's not like I was going to Masai Market from Kitambo, so it wasn't, I wouldn't call it like there was a transition into this. There's some people who saw me on Changes acting. And how I got onto Changes was because I used to sing in a reggae band called the Rude Boys with Nazizi. Yeah.
Nice.
With Nazizi and Lavosti and David. This is before TPF. So like there's things that happened before TPF. Changes season 1 was before TPF. So TPF happens. And then after TPF, I want to continue singing and singing live music. So the conversation around my singing that started to chip away at that happened after TPF. But it was like, it's fine. It's cool. It's not a biggie. I wanted to pursue radio. I wanted to be on radio. So I just found ways. I heard about a new station that's going to be playing only African music. I was like, that's where I want to be. That was 1FM. At the time, they didn't have a slot for me. They just had news. So I was like, it's fine. I will learn. You need a news anchor? I'll do it. And I'll work my ass off to be a good news anchor. There were 3 interns when we were starting, and I was like, you guys are the ones to teach me. Like, you guys are the professionals here. I'm the voice.
Like, you guys are doing all the work.
Not all the work, but like teach me.
Okay, yeah, I get it.
Like I wasn't gonna be like, I'm the news anchor and you're the interns, and I'm the boss. It wasn't. No, it was like, you guys kind of like teach me how to do this. So that even as the station grew, there was an opportunity for head of news. I was like, not me, because I remember the boss was like, okay, so head of news. I'm like, no, Madam Asha Mwilu is the one who should do it. Like, but it was always just like, there was a flow of things, and I think what I can say is that I didn't stick to this is the door I want to go through, and it's the only door that I have to go through. It's like, okay, this door is not opening. Kuna ingine, kuna back door, kuna dirisha, kuna this. And it's all things that I love to do. So I was like, whatever opportunity I can get to do this thing that I love, and they happen to be several, I will do them. So with the acting, the content creation that came from, I was working at Homeboys as a news anchor. Talia used to do the morning, like mid-morning. So it would be like 10 to 1. And I would go in to read the news, right? Every hour at the top of the hour. And music would be playing and Talia and I would be dancing to the music. And then somebody recorded us. And then it started Video Chronicles. And then somebody reached out to us after like a couple of months. Can we pay you guys to dance with this product in the video? It's wild. But even we didn't take it because we're like, okay, that seems kind of low. But at the time as well, I had a blog. Like I had a patriciakihoro.com, like a blog, like. And I remember my first client actually was Barclays Africa. And so my first influencer gig was writing a blog post a month. It was a 6-month gig, writing a blog post a month about my relationship with money, and then tweeting about it and posting on Facebook about it.
Even before IG?
Yeah.
This is
Kitambo. So it's like things kind of just, they happened, but it's that thing also of when opportunity meets Nini, be prepared, be ready. So I feel like a lot of things have kind of like...
You stay ready so you don't have to get ready. Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess you could say that.
Like when you're on radio and you used to put on so many artists for Afro Central. Like, did you just feel, was that your intention from the beginning? Just have a Kenyan show and play music that people are listening to?
Yes. So by the time I'd been working at 1FM for 2 years reading the news, and I was like, okay, ile show nilikuwa nataka. It's been 2 years,
I've paid my dues.
You guy. And I left to go on this tour of Europe, of let's say Holland. So it was the Netherlands, we did Belgium, Denmark. So it was a theater production that involved music. It was telling the story of Kenya through music and dance and narration. And we were a group of artists. So this was in 2012. So I remember taking leave from 1FM. It had been 2 years. And I was like, I'm going to do this thing and I'm going to need 6 months off because we're going to have to rehearse. And then we're going to be away for 3 months. But then when I come back, we had our PC at the time, our programs controller was Olivia Otieno. And I told her, look, I've been doing the news here for 2 years, but this is what I wanted to do. Will there be an opportunity to do that? So she was like, pitch some shows to me. I pitched 3 shows and she was like, look, you go do your thing. When you come back, we'll be here waiting. And if you feel like you want to come back here, then we can do this. I came back. Olivia was no longer there. There was a new PC. And I remember sitting down with him, and for him, he was just like, that's great, whatever you wanted to do, but we have a hits show for you, like Rush Hour. And basically he was like, look, for your career, it just makes more sense for you to do hits. And they just started like the sister station to 1FM, which I think at the time was called 2FM. And it was basically to play hits, but like not even African hits anymore. It was like just, the Rihannas and I was like
40 radio basically.
Yeah, and for me I was just like, but that's not what I wanted. And it's never been about building a career in radio for me. It was literally just, I want a show where I can play the music that I don't get to hear. You know, like these artists that I love, they're not being played by anyone. So when I was telling now Homeboys, maybe a year later, Homeboys had reached out to me to be a news anchor. And I remember sitting with John. It took me a while to go. Della is the one who'd been like, Patricia, please come in, please come in. And the only reason John had heard me on Jack Rooster's show. Jack Rooster was my homie, and he told me, come through for this show, you'll read a poem. So I went to read a poem, and John heard, and he told Della, I think she'd do great as a news anchor. And me, I was just like, ake news. Sitaki kusoma news. Nilisoma news na nikachoka. So Della is like, come through, please come for a voice test. And I'm like, it took a couple of months. So when I finally went and I sat down with John and I was like, look, I'm I'll do the news, but I'd like a show where I can play this kind of music. So ukinipatia hii show, nitafanya news. And he was like, cool, we have a slot available on Saturdays. It's 2 hours. You can have that. I was like, cool. So I did the news for like 6 months. So every day of the week, I'd be doing the news, and then Saturday I'm going to do my Afro Central. And I think after about 6-7 months, I went in and I told John, in news, Aileti Shangwe. Yani, I can't do this anymore. Like, my soul is just... And he was like, you know what? I was expecting this. He wasn't surprised. And for me, I'd also gone in with, if he decides also that he's going to take the show from me, it's cool. I'd made my peace with that. But he was like, no, you can keep the show. It's fine.
Ooh.
So that's how I ended up doing Afro Central for 5.5 years at Homeboys. And it was literally... It wasn't to put people on, if I'm honest. Okay, it was.
Because you used to play songs that people wouldn't listen to. You wouldn't hear anywhere else.
But yeah, it was. It was actually to put people on. What am I saying? I literally, that show for me was just the opportunity to have people have a place where, because you know these conversations of, Kwanzaa, when I see people saying that we don't have good music, you know.
Oh, I hate that.
So I was like, I give them grace, because a lot of times it's just people don't know where to, if the mainstream stations, if everybody is playing this, but this underserved market, you know, there's artists who are creating dope music, but it's not mainstream. I really honestly wanted that show to be that. And it was also for me to just enjoy myself. Ni kama sasa pia mimi niko hapo nisikize mangoma, I discover as well, because that was part of prep for the show. Like, literally just constantly looking for artists, you know, going to conversations, comments, tweets, who has talked about who, digging to be like, oh, is this an artist? Okay, cool. Reaching out to people, can you send me your music? And it wasn't necessarily just music that I loved, but also music that fit into that category. Yeah, because it wasn't just about my taste. It was also about how can I also serve
the people who are listening,
the listeners and the artists themselves. Yeah, so that's what the show was about.
Love it. Actually, I just remembered one of a song I really love is a song by you. It's a cover. You did for The Nest, Hakuna Matata. And you know the funny thing is, this music is still up on SoundCloud, by the way. Like, there's a whole generation of people who don't know how to use SoundCloud. There's a lot of songs you made that's still on SoundCloud. So if you're checking this out, and type in Patricia Kihoro on SoundCloud. There's some gems on there. No, Hakuna Matata is fire. The cover was insane. In fact, the whole project was really dope. What was it called?
It was called...
Nimesahau jina yake again. I'm blanking.
Hata mimi nimesahau, but it was by The Nest.
Yes, it was by The Nest. Now, here's the thing. I don't like singing shows. Okay. Because I always feel like sometimes they're a bit unfair.
What do you mean by singing shows? Like competitions?
Yeah, competitions. Okay. Like The Voice, the Nini. I don't like watching that stuff. Even though I love music as an art form, I really, it really bothers me sometimes watching it. Because it feels like it's... Kwanzaa, this one where they turn the chairs around.
The Voice.
Yeah, it feels kind of...
This is the voice.
I don't know. I don't want to say this. It feels like a slave auction. Like...
Okay.
Who's the biggest slave? Everybody's bidding.
Wow.
Okay. Again. Wow. But anyway, that's my feelings. When you're on TPF, there's a clip of you on YouTube where you were singing a song. I think was it by Valerie?
Valerie Kimani.
Valerie Kimani. And then the judge told you that you actually did it better than her.
Which is a lie. Till today, I was just like, oh, that's such a nice comment. But
and she was there. I could see the video. Now, have you ever felt when you were going through the process, did you ever feel that at some point that maybe you were better than the people who were judging you, or the people who were like the coaches, whatever? Did you ever feel at any point, that never crossed your mind?
No.
Because I did see somebody saying, who was on a singing show, that at the end of the day, he realized that even the people who were judging the singing show wouldn't be able to win the singing show they were judging.
That's such an interesting take. And I think it really just depends on your intentions going in, right? I remember for me, it took a lot for me to audition for that show. Like, literally, my friend had to come with me. And she said, I'm going to audition. Even though I'm not a singer, I'm auditioning as well, but Patricia, we are going for this thing. Because for me, I'd just been like, this reality shows, nini. I don't know if it's for me.
That was audition number one for you, because you have talked about other auditions.
Yeah, I'd only auditioned once before for Coca-Cola Pop Stars. And yeah, I really auditioned badly. Unajua ile ya kutetemeka. It was the first time I was ever doing something like that. I'm a really bad auditioner. Like, even when I'm auditioning for like acting roles, you'll actually find that there's some people who are so good at auditioning, right? And others who are not. So somebody is a great actor, but the auditioning process is just... Baka, there's even master classes for auditioning.
I know what you mean, because I used to work with... the perfect interviewer, like the perfect candidate, a person who knows how to ace interviews, and then doesn't know how to do work at all. So they're always just like after a year, they're always leaving, going to the next.
Nikama vile we used to study for KCSE. By the time, it's just you're good at answering the questions. Like you've memorized also the past papers, so you know the question. Like, but so for me, I remember Coca-Cola Pop Stars. Hata nakumbuka ile wimbo niliimba. Oh my gosh! And then I auditioned in the same group, because by afternoon, you know, like the wait had been long, so now they were taking us in groups of 5, and then they just tell you, okay, sing, then you sing for like 20 seconds next. So I was in the same group as Pam Waithaka, who was a
one
winner.
of the 3, yeah.
Yes. Now Pam, it's for her, it's like she wasn't phased by it. Me, till today, stage fright is still a thing.
You have a stage show.
You guy. Yeah.
You've done a one-woman show by yourself.
No, trust me, I don't do that show because I'm like, oh my God, like, that show, I do it when God is like, it is time. It's not me, you guys. And so I remember the day I auditioned for Pop Stars, nilikuwa tu nimetetemeka, nikaingia. And then now we are 5 of us, it's a rush. And who was... Zwei Bala was one of the guys, and him is uko like, you know, he's from papa para papa papa para papa. It's a fiasco. Stop, let me be your number one. It's a fiasco underneath the sun. What is the name of that group? Okay, I'm blanking, but his name is Zwei Bala. Loiso Bala is his brother. What is the name of the group? Can't believe I've forgotten. So he was one of the guys auditioning, and I remember nilikuwa natetemeka yangu yote na nikaimba wimbo ya India Ari. I woke up this morning, you are the first. They just say stop, next. You know, like, and literally it's just those 5 seconds that determine whether you go through to the next round. So I didn't get through. So after that, the next time I was auditioning for something was TPF, years later. And literally, I think because I was now detached from it, because my friends were just like, just do it. So I didn't even think I was getting to the next level. So every time I would get to the next level, I'm just like, Allah, I'm here.
Tumefika.
So even when I entered the house, I was just like, Allah, I'm in the house. Like, it was just a surprise every step of the way.
Nice.
But for me, I didn't go thinking, oh, I'm this dope, nini, I'm gonna do this. So it never crossed my mind to think of other people and whether they deserved to be there as judges or anything. Yeah.
Good point. Now, you've performed for a president. Yes?
Which one?
You did say that on Nini, on the thing for Dadasphere. Unless nilisikia vitu zangu.
I mean, maybe I have. Another thing with me is that I literally like do things and completely forget about them.
You've been on TPF, you've done the whole European tour, you've made music. You are in the first truly viral Kenyan video as the lead.
No, Makmende was the lead.
You're the leading lady. Am I wrong? No, I'm not. Now, all these things that you've done in this storied career of yours, what's your favorite music memory?
I don't know. I literally can't remember. No, but it's true. I mean, maybe when I'm doing my show, Life in the Single Lane, I really enjoy that because it's a storytelling process. It's not a concert. It's not a stand-up show. It's not a play. It's all those things, but in a way that I was just able to be myself on stage. So I think maybe those moments on stage with Toby. Toby was my guitarist. And so in the moments where I'd be, maybe that, I don't know. You know what will happen? I'll go home.
And you'll figure it out.
At 3 a.m, I'll be like,
I should have said that.
Because but there's a lot of things.
You get the perfect
remember.
answer when you don't have the question in your face. I get that. And now I want to move on to a bit something different, Kidogo. This is more into like your content creation, your influencer bag. You're on IG looking all good. Like, do you feel the pressure to keep creating constantly, and just have a constant quality output? Because you can create, but you can also create something that isn't something you want or you like. And is that like a reason that maybe you haven't gone back to YouTube for a bit?
Analysis paralysis. Bruh. Yeah, it's there's this thing that Ira Glass talks about when, as a creator, that thing that like you want to create good work, and you measure yourself against the greats.
Yeah.
And he talks about, it just means you have good taste when you look at what you've created and you're like, this is crap. But you can't, I'm not like quoting him verbatim, but it's literally, he's saying you have to remember that, like, you have to allow yourself the gift of growing and learning and improving, because you can't get to this without here. Yeah. Right? And it's difficult for people who, it's hard, because for me it's like, this video, cool, I've published, the next one has to be better. Ooh. Has to be. So you end up being your harshest critic, because even when people are saying, this was so dope, I like this, do this again, it's like, cool, but what is the level up? And I struggle with that in all the platforms, all of them. So the pressure to, like, I'll have moments where I'm okay, I'm good, and I'm like, let's just post this, it's cool, just do this, create, because I love the process of creating, shooting video, scripting something, or an idea coming up and thinking, this is so cool, let me do this. I love the process of learning how to edit, learning how to find new techniques to do something, or like discovering new fonts. I'm such a font fanatic. Oh my God. Ata Canva. Like, those are things that I'm a geek for. But at the same time, it just means that I have stifled myself so much, because if I don't think that anything I've done is up to par, I feel like I don't want to subject. Like, I'm literally scamming my audiences.
I used to have the same mentality, and then I discovered Twitch. Do you know how to use Twitch, like the live streaming service?
I know about it, but I think one of the decisions I made was like, just because I used to be on everything. Then I was like, no. But tell me more.
I watch a lot of content on Twitch, because I find it fun. And what I realized is everybody on Twitch, that nobody really cares about how good they were yesterday. They just exist in the moment. That's all they do. And another thing I've learned, Twitch is the apex of content. Nobody makes as much money as Twitch streamers. If you're big on Twitch, it's like the top of the pyramid. You're big everywhere by default. Every single other platform. You'll be big on IG, YouTube, because guys are going to steal your clips to go on YouTube. You have your own channel. And those guys, the whole like overthinking thing. They're like, I just wake up in the morning, I turn on my camera and I talk to my stream. I don't have to worry about being better than yesterday. I just have to worry about being good enough today. Just being happy. And then these guys, in the middle of the whole like stream, somebody will just turn it off. And be like, yo guys, I'm tired today. Wow. I don't want to do this. And Azima stream. And then he doesn't show up for 2 weeks. Wow. But when he comes back, the community is still there. And they're still willing to support him. Yeah. And that whole pressure I could create and just being better than the last time, I lost that over there, because I was like, okay.
That's so dope.
If these guys who have like 100,000 people watching them live, there's a difference between having 100,000 views and 100,000 live viewers.
Bruh.
Live viewers.
Ndio maana mtu akona millions of followers on Instagram lakini akienda live unacheki hapo 263.
Watu wanakuangalia tu. But 100,000 people watching you live at any given time, and it's a consistent number.
Yeah.
More people are falling off, wengine wanakuja.
That's amazing.
And you're just leaving that community for like 2 weeks. I'm sure the brand managers are like, why are you not posting? Those guys don't care. They just do what they want, and it keeps it going. I lost that whole pressure of, I need to be perfect. I need to do this. I need to do, no, just do what you want.
I think it's also, I battle a lot with, is this important? What impact am I making? Like I've made it so like grandiose, when really it's like, just be you. Like, why do you care? Like I have the days where I'm like, I'm good. This is good. This is cool. It's easy. I love doing this. Let me just do it. It doesn't matter. It's me like expressing myself. And then there's other days where it's like, but who the hell do you think you are? And so I teeter between those two things. And, you know, over the last couple of years, I've come to understand why, in terms of, you know, with my mental health and going to therapy and finding myself having to take medication just to exist. Okay. So I've learned so much about myself after my diagnosis as well. So coming to understand, okay, this is why you think the way you do. Because understanding mental health from a framework of, okay, mental health doesn't just talk about depression and being sad. It's also just like how your mind works in terms of, you know, processing things. Like my mind doesn't know how to remember things that I've done. I don't know how, like my brain doesn't register. Good job. You know, so having to manufacture dopamine or like the reward system, because my brain has never learned how to do that, and it can't. So when I tell you there's some things I can't remember, it's literally because my brain is like, yeah, you did it. But you know that thing of people say, just achieve this task. Once you do it, you'll get the momentum to... My brain doesn't work like that.
The reward system does not work.
It does not. It's compromised. So imagine constantly hearing people say, oh, like, you know, you did this thing, or let me give you your flowers. And me, I'm like, for what? For what? And then you'll be like, but you remember you did it? I'm like, oh yeah.
No, but you do deserve your flowers.
Like thank
you are the legendary Patricia Kihoro.
Asante.
There's a whole generation of young women who look up to you. And
thank you.
You keep us entertained all the time.
Asante.
Triple threat, as in another triple threat, you're like a Swiss Army knife. Hey, you're good in any situation.
Come on.
Like Patricia has never been.
Asante. I really appreciate that. I think I'm learning I'm working on the tools to sort of help my brain support me.
You know, it's crazy for me, like just even being here with you, just sitting here.
Yeah.
Because I was talking to Sookie about this. Like the people I used to like see on TV, like 10 years ago, performing, you know, a little house in Rongai, tunangalia tu TV, tukiwatch TPF. Like, I wouldn't even imagine that they would ever know my name. Or even just like this shit I do.
Yeah.
So for me, it's crazy. But again, you deserve all the flowers.
And me, I've known your name for a while. For a while.
Now, to the music question. I'll also answer. So, precious kwako peke yako.
Okay.
Give me 3 albums that you think are 10 out of 10. That the audience... Because I know this episode is going to get views Juni wewe after
all. Okay. What I'll do, because I feel like the only way I can answer that question is to then tell you the albums that I've listened to on repeat. You know what I was saying? Yeah. Like, till it became one.
That's fine. That's completely fine.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've engaged with a piece of work in that way. But okay, let's see.
I can give one of mine, if you don't mind. What's Your Pleasure by Jessie Ware. 10 out of 10 album, in my opinion. It's probably the best album that came out during the pandemic. It's dance, it's pop, it's Vogue. It's music that makes people happy. And honestly, there's so many good songs on there that Kwanza Spotlight. And Jessie Ware is releasing her 5th album in like a month or so. So it's a really good time to actually go revisit What's Your Pleasure. And if you're a fan, if you like Beyonce's Renaissance, you will love What's Your Pleasure.
You know what's so interesting? So like, I love Beyonce, but when it comes to the fandom, Me, I'm like index 267. Like I love her. I love Beyonce, but not like the way other people love
a bit
her.
of like stanism that goes a bit too far. I get it.
It's not going. It's just people.
There's a whole TV show being made about.
I've seen it. I've seen the trailer.
Swarm.
Yes, that looks so cool.
If you get a point where they're making TV shows about how mad you guys are as fans, I feel like to make some level, it's like terrorism, Sasa.
That's true. But like I've seen Beyonce twice live. I saw her in 2018 in France, and I have my tickets for Renaissance already, like the Renaissance tour.
Hey, big flexer.
But you see, for me, I think it's not about the artist, but also the live gigs. Like I've always been, I love live performances, like getting to see an artist performing live on stage. So I think for me, the experience of being in a stage, in an arena, a stadium, and she's performing, that I think is where like I'm a fan, I'm a stan.
I would love to see Beyonce live too, because I know she doesn't like, her live shows are insane. That I know that for a fact. Like,
it's mad. And it's, actually the perfect venue for Beyonce here, which we have, which a lot of people don't actually know. That because even in France, we went to a stadium. Kasarani is perfect.
Yeah.
Like we have it. That's like literally, those are the places in Europe or wherever where these gigs are happening. But I don't know why people don't know that, because people are like, we don't have the resources. No, Kasarani is the perfect venue, like the actual stadium itself. And if Beyonce was to come here, I think that's where she would play. It would be great, and people would turn up. But why were we talking about Beyonce?
Without 10 out of 10 albums, 3 of them.
Okay, 82, Just a Band. That one for me. Listened from the beginning to the end, even the ad-libs, even the people speaking, akina Njokingumi, akina Wambura, like all the conversations happening in between, I could literally, the whole entire thing. Della's album, her first ever album, I also listened to it like on repeat. The Noisettes. Do you know the Noisettes? It's a British band, but the lead singer is this girl called Shingai Shoniwa. I really enjoyed their album. It's called Wild Young Hearts. Ice Prince.
Ooh.
Everybody Loves Ice Prince, I think is the name of the album. It's the one that had Oleku. It's the one that had Juju. That is like, for a rapper. I really enjoyed that album. That's the one I listened to for 4 months. Non-stop.
Kila siku tu.
Every single day. And what else? Akisi nilikuwa nimezilainisha hapa. Noisettes, Ice Prince, 82, Just a Band. I think Adele, 18, was another one that I would just listen to like non-stop, back to back.
For me, the other two are Final Reach by Chief Keef. It's like the way drill has taken over the world right now. That's where like drill got this was your coming out party. Like the sound of Chicago, let's go. It's ultra violent. And it makes sense because these kids grow up in a very, very, like you're 17, you grow up in a place where the highest murder rate in the world. But the music is so good and it was so different. At that time, Young Chop was making the most amazing beats. Because when I Don't Like came out, then Good Music jumped on the remix. Kanye West, Pusha T, Jada, Kishio, all these dudes on the remix, and then the song goes out on Fridays. This was when Nani was rolling out to My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. Kanye West, lovely album. It might not be for everyone if you don't like the nature of the content.
Yeah.
But as an album, I feel it's 10 out of 10. And for me, Kingston Story by Vybz Kartel. I love dancehall.
Yeah.
And I feel like Vybz Kartel is the most influential artist of the new millennium since the year 2000. I don't think any artist has influenced like pop culture and music as much as you can draw a line to every musical trend back to Vybz Kartel in a way. Kingston Story was like, now the way rhythms used to come out, zinakuja, there's always a Vybz Kartel song. Yeah. So normally a dancehall artist would just repurpose the songs that were on the rhythm and put it back on the album.
Yeah.
But now he had a whole new set list,
Yeah.
a whole new track list.
Yeah.
Your Love, I believe, is one of the most perfect wedding songs ever.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful love song.
Yeah.
I told you the song I would play at my wedding, the first one.
Yes. Yes, you told me.
Yeah. And for those at
Yeah.
home, that is Pussy Got You Hooked, the instrumental by 3-6 Mafia. I love that. The second song will be Your Love by Vibes Cartel. Those are my 3 albums. If you have time, by the way, like just take it upon yourself
Yeah.
and listen to it. You'll enjoy it. Unless it offends your sensibilities, and I'm sorry at that point.
Nah, bruv. Mi kwanza nakumbuka maisha ya Maridim that time when I was in the reggae band. So, but it feels like a whole lifetime away.
I was at a dancehall party on Saturday
Yeah.
night,
Uh-huh.
and it was so much fun. Because like it's taking me back to when I was 20 years old.
Yeah.
Mavado, settle down for me, baby.
Yeah.
That was Overproof Rhythm, which had the law I am mad because they made the same rhythm twice and then gave it 2 different names. They made Overproof and then they made Master's Blend, and it's the same exact thing. And why? Why would you do that?
Because they can.
Master, and it's the same thing. And Overproof has a song by Daniel Bedingfield, Natasha Bedingfield's brother.
Yes. I gotta get through this.
Yes.
Gotta get through this.
So that song is called
Gotta
Sometimes You
gotta
Just Know. So imagine a British singer just singing
if
on
you're
dance.
not the one, that's the one that took the world by storm. Yeah. Nitaenda kuisikiza leo.
Overproof kwanza. Hey, by the way, hata mimi umenipatia motisha. Let me go home and listen to Overproof Rhythm.
Yeah.
It's like 36 songs long, but it's still worth it. And you know the thing I love about rhythms?
Yeah.
It's how it's the same beat, but it's never the same song.
Yeah.
It's never ever the same song. It's
the way
always the
people.
same beat.
I like that thing that people are doing now, where you put out a song and then you ask guys to duet it, or to so like that Libyana people.
Shout out to Okello Max.
You guys, he did the thing. Who else? Charisma also. I loved Charisma's nilifeel kwa spirit.
Charisma will send you I part. Ndakutumia this specific part on WhatsApp. You
That
just
one,
post it.
I felt it in my heart. I almost wanted to send him a heartfelt message. Hey, but yeah.
No, he'll see this and he'll be happy.
Nah, he's dope. He's dope.
He really is.
Yeah. I
Anyway.
feel like I feel like I did. So when I was coming here, I did that thing where I was like, no, I'm not gonna prep because I need to nini. But I know afterwards I'll just be like, oh, I should have said this. I should have talked about so and so.
Suki isn't here, so we have to do this again with her.
Okay.
We'll have to do this again
Yeah.
when Suki gets better.
Yeah, I was looking
We have to
forward
do it again
that.
because there's still a lot more I want to ask you, but unfortunately we're out of time. Like if this was 3 hours long, like tungeitisha mzinga kitambo. Tungeitisha tu some Tusker cider.
Yes, some Tusker cider.
Alafu we just keep it going, but
We
unfortunately
live
we
for
are out of
taste.
time.
It's all good.
Once again, I'm so happy that you have come on the show. I'm so happy.
No, thank you. I think you're so dope. So this was such an
Be still
honor.
my beating heart.
Thank you. Asante. Nilisikia tu wow. Nimeitwa na cool kid.
Mimi. Okay.
So thank you. Thanks for having me.
Hata cool kids wanakunyonga keg kumbe.
You go.
Yeah. And if you've got this far, by the way, and you've watched our conversation at home, there's one thing. If there's one thing you must take away from this episode is Tusker cider, number 1 drink.
Asante.
Go buy some and tag Patricia. Tag Patricia in your Instagram, posting everything. Sindio?
Yes.
Support the homies.
Yes.
Anyway, this has been episode 19 of Breaking Hertz. I always forget this. And thank you for vibing with us. Thank you, Patricia, for coming on board. Once again, the legendary, the multi-talented, the style icon, great singer, amazing actress, Patricia Kihoro has graced us for the first time, but not the last.
Yes.
See you guys on the next one.
See you, viewers. The next one. Tune in.
Tune in.
Hey.
Wow, that's such an old thing to say.